Welcome into On the Pulse, episode 2. My name is Derek Forrest, and I have the pleasure of introducing the director of sport for the World Fitness Project, Will Moorad, is going to be joining us today as we introduce the workouts for Challenger Qualifier 1. Will, thanks for joining me today. How are you feeling? And I do have a quick question. As a former athlete, what were some of the nerves you had coming into a qualifier or an online competition? And are those nerves still there as you programmed these workouts?
Great to see you, man. I'm doing okay. I've been a little under the weather for about 10 days, but I think I'm coming out of it. My voice is a little raspy, so please forgive me. But yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah, the nerves going into a qualifier, jump right into it. I can feel them just thinking about it. Uh, yeah, they're always there. They're good nerves because that means something's on the line. Um, and something big is ahead, and it's the start of, climbing a mountain towards a big event. So I think that's the energy that I think when when I think about a qualifier. So yeah.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an exciting week for the athletes. Let's take a look at an overview of today's show as we get set. We're obviously going to start to reveal these workouts. We're going to take a look at all three: qualifier workout 1, qualifier workout 2, and then workouts 3A and 3B. That's a little bit interesting. We'll get to that a little bit later. And then obviously we'll follow up with our tips to success. So, Will, I wanted to ask you, when putting together these online qualifiers, what are some of the things that you considered, especially being a former athlete?
Yeah, first and foremost, you gotta kind of consider who you're trying to get to the event, and the nature of the tour events is world-class athletes, best against the best. So we kind of wanted to we wanted to certainly ensure that the athletes that qualify through our online system will be able to compete with the men and women who will be at the in-person competition. So that was certainly one thing that we focused on, the level of athlete that we're writing the workouts for. And then secondly, the full scope of the events and making sure that we cover as many bases as we can with a limited amount of events in an online qualifier. So I think we did a good job of that.
Yeah, what was your process like from going from having these ideas to finally like implementing them into action, and putting it together for a fully designed competition for these athletes?
Yeah, I mean, we tested these workouts a lot of times, a lot of different iterations. It's been helpful that I still have held on to a decent level of fitness. So if there's something that I'm a little bit curious about, I'll just go do it, and take notes. And then I have some pretty fit individuals on the WFP team that can also test some things. Saxon specifically isn't too bad at this stuff. So we have a pretty good, between at least the two of us, we can get a pretty good idea, a pretty good pulse of what we're looking for. So we went through all these workouts many times, many different iterations, different time caps, rep schemes, the whole thing. Uh, the movements didn't change too much, so that's important, because there's a scope of movements throughout the whole year that we're trying to cover. But yeah, I think that kind of covers.
As a former athlete preparing for these competitions, especially when you don't know what's coming, right? What's your mindset in order to prepare for it, and what are you kind of thinking about the weeks leading up to the qualifier?
Yeah, I think historically you could start to guess what might show up in an online qualifier, depending on the event that you were trying to qualify for, because a lot of these events have a history of how they program and things like that. Um, so I think that I would focus on past qualifiers of those events and use those as kind of a target for the unknown or whatever. Because that just gives you something to fixate on and focus on. And as an athlete, I always liked having some type of guidance. Whether it was a guess or not, it just gives you kind of a path. So I think that that was something I focused on then. This is the this is 101, right? This is the first time we're doing this. So I don't know that there was that process for anybody going into this.
Mhm.
I have stated that we're not trying to reinvent the wheel from a exercise standpoint. Like we put out a movement list. This is what's going to be in the season. So I think they could utilize that in their training, but that was kind of it. But I don't think, and we'll talk about these workouts. Nothing outside of the box. It's really straightforward. It's a balance test uh, of all different types of fitness, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. I think the best athletes will go through for sure.
Yeah, well, speaking of exciting, it's about that time. I'm sure it's been months in the making, but let's finally take a look at workout number one.
World Fitness Project Challenger Qualifier 1. Workout number 1 for the 2025 season is a 20-minute AMRAP of calories on the rower. The men will perform 20 calories and the women 15 calories per round. 20 lateral burpees over the rower and 40 shuttle runs with 7.6 meters of distance counting as 1 rep. Challengers will complete as many rounds and reps as possible of these 3 movements throughout the 20-minute time frame. Your score for this workout is the total number of rounds and reps completed, with a tie break after round number 3. For detailed movement standards, scorecards, and the 2025 rulebook, head over to worldfitnessproject.com. The 2025 WFP Challenger season starts now.
All right, there you have it. Well, workout number one. The first thing I wanted to ask, and I'm sure a lot of athletes are already going to be thinking this, the workouts are numbered. So, is there going to be a requirement for the athletes to have to do these workouts in order, or are they going to have to submit them in a certain order?
No, no, you can kind of attack them as you see fit, redos, however you need to do them. That's just the way that it came out. And I think a long aerobic test, workout one, not a bad way to kick things off. Anybody can do that. Uh, so yeah, no, nothing to read into too much. No.
Yeah, you mentioned it's an aerobic workout, 20 minutes. What was your thought process behind having a workout that will test out the athlete's aerobic capacity early on?
Yeah, I kind of think about it like a 5K run time trial. You can come out too hot and really crash and burn, or you can kind of have negative splits and chip away as you go, and then maybe have a little bit of a kick the last 2 rounds or so and separate from the pack. So that was really the vision of it. How could you simulate a 5K run or something of that same energy system within a gym and have it on camera? So that was kind of it. You can't really throw everybody out on a track and say, "Hey, go run a 5K." Uh, it's just not super easy logistics wise in an online format. But we're really happy with how that went down. I did that workout many years ago, um, and it felt just like a hard run time trial. I remember like laying
Mhm.
on the ground. I did it at my old house out in our cul-de-sac actually, and it was horrendous. And I was like, man, this could be a really good, simple qualifier workout that everybody can do, and that the cream will certainly rise to the top after it. Just with the nature of the movements and the cadence needed to keep the gas pedal going. So really happy with how that one turned out.
Great. So basically, you tortured yourself, and you said, I want to torture the athletes as well."
No, I think it actually like yeah, sure, it needs to be a very challenging workout to be able to place the right athletes to compete against, our pro roster. But I think it's an intangible to be able to stay on the throttle. You need to kind of be able to get over your threshold and hold on until that 20-minute finishes. And you need to have that ability to maintain that intensity for that time duration in order to compete with the best in the world. So that's really what it is. But yeah, it'll sting for sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, these are movements that every athlete should be used to, but you've got a couple of new movement standards in this one. Just talk about those a little bit.
Yeah, so we took away the touching, the 3 point of contact, the touching the line for the shuttle runs. We are allowing athletes to step over the rower during the burpees as well. I just think it kind of like when you have a 25-foot section touching the line, it's kind of hard to see if someone's actually making contact. And the nature of running for me has always been running. I don't like having to touch the ground every 25 or 20 feet or whatever it was. It breaks up the cadence of a runner. And almost if my lower back's blowing up during a running workout, it doesn't seem right to me. So I just wanted to take that out. And then for the burpees, being able to step over, there's always been a little bit of a, are you jumping with 1 foot, 2 feet? Like, where is that? Just step over, get over the rower. It's going to be slower. If you step over, you probably won't put up a score that's super competitive. Maybe you will, but the idea was just get on the ground, get over something, get on the ground, get over something. And so just simplifying things a little bit, less things for the judges to have to focus on and just getting more done.
Yeah, yeah. So, as we look ahead to the completion of this event for the athletes, what do you think? Do you have a good idea of what a time frame would be for a good athlete to a great athlete to an elite athlete in terms of this workout?
Um, I think getting into that 6th round is definitely feasible. You kinda need to you need to be able to have a high cadence on burpees. The row is I think I rode around a 1500 the whole time, and then I'm a decent runner, so a lot of the time is spent on those shuttle runs. So being able to have a high cadence, but also try to bring your heart rate down a little bit on the run is important, at least in the first 3-ish rounds, because your heart rate will spike on the burpees a little bit. So yeah, I think getting into that 6th round will be really good, and then I think we'll kinda see what happens. You can take a few risks. You can maybe try to throttle on the run early, but that could pay off. That could, turn up a bit.
So
Um,
for someone like me, that means like 3 rounds, 4 rounds. How am I pacing it?
yeah, I mean, I think it's also like a good recovery workout. You could kinda just put your heart rate strap on and go Z2 and work out for 20 minutes.
That's exactly where I'm at, right there. Right there. All right. So it's time to move on and let's take a look at workout number two.
World Fitness Project Challenger Qualifier 1, workout number 2 for the 2025 season is a 3-round workout for time. In round 1, challengers will complete 150 double unders, 30.4 meters of farmer hold walking lunges, and 45 pull-ups. In round 2, 120 double unders, 30.4 meters of front rack walking lunges, and 30 chest to bar pull-ups. In round 3, 90 double unders, 30.4 meters of overhead walking lunges, and 15 bar muscle ups. There is a 15-minute time cap on this workout. Your score for this workout is the time it takes you to complete all 3 rounds or the total number of reps completed. There is a tie break time taken after the final round of double unders. For detailed movement standards, scorecards, and the 2025 rulebook, head over to worldfitnessproject.com.
All right, there you have it. That is workout number 2. This one, Will, looks like it's a well-rounded workout with increasing difficulty as it goes for these athletes. When you thought about this design, what do you expect to see from some of the elite athletes in the sport, and what are their bodies going to experience in this one?
Yeah, it's pretty grippy. I think that you could mess around and try to go unbroken on the whole thing. I don't know that it's the best move. I tried to do that, and I got to the chest to bar, and I was in a little bit of trouble, but and I ended up breaking it once, but the, uh it starts simple and then you layer in complexity, and I think that that's important. It's kind of gated in a way as the pull-ups turn to just a bar, turn to bar muscle ups, the lunges from a farmer carry to a front rack to an overhead. So you're starting simple and just layering in complexity and difficulty in that nature. And I think that that's just a natural separator of athlete where, strength, endurance, and skill all kind of marry together at the end, and then fitness, of course. So we really like the way that this one turned out. You can kind of keep your foot on the gas the whole time if you're
Mhm.
one of the best. And there is a bit of strategy because, one break on the dumbbell could be over, one break on the chest to bar, you could be okay, one break on the bar muscle up's probably not good. So, uh, I think that it covers a lot of movements, which is important. We haven't gotten to the next workout yet, but, we had a triplet in the first one. This one has, a jump rope, a pull-up bar, and dumbbells, but the movements change a little bit. So there's a pretty broad spectrum of movements that we'll be testing from a gymnastic standpoint, from a lunge variant standpoint, uh, which is good. And then, of course, you said maybe you were alluding to it. Yeah, it is a quite grippy test. You're holding on to something the whole time, which can get to be a lot if you haven't been doing much density work as far as grip goes. So, yeah.
Yeah, so you kinda hit 2 opposite sides of the spectrum. You said you could try to get it done unbroken, but you also may struggle with, some of the dumbbell stuff. So, in terms of the time cap, we're looking at 15 minutes. Do you think, that a lot of these elite athletes will be able to come in under the time cap, or where do you
Well
see?
under it.
Yeah?
Yeah, well under it. I think 9, maybe faster. People always surprise you. Uh, so I think people can throttle it pretty good, 9, 10 minutes. Uh, but we'll see. Um, I think if you do the whole thing unbroken, yeah, we'll see. I don't wanna give them too many carrots. I mean, they're gonna go prove me wrong no matter what I say. Like, I've been in the game long enough. There's some monsters out there. So, I hope that they do it in, the fastest. I mean, there will be the fastest to ever do this workout will certainly happen in this qualifier. So, that's pretty exciting. And I think it's a fun workout. I think athletes look at this event and, that first one is not a fun workout. It's just like a brutal test of like a brutal workout and fitness is going to be shown. This one's a little bit more fun. I think people could redo this one and not think too much about, maybe, I'll bomb out. The first one, I don't think many people are going to redo. But that's kind of the nature of a good qualifier. There's a workout, and that's when you're like, is there anything that comes to, oh, the order I'm doing these workouts? You gotta
Right.
kinda know yourself, and that's
Yeah.
important because if you try to do one and you bomb out and it happens to be the one that you really can't redo,
Right.
uh, it could be costly for your qualification bid. So maybe I'm sounding like an old guy who can't like read workouts, but I think that that's across the board. People will have some tact in how they approach these. This is one I think guys and girls could redo and maybe refine it. Maybe I'll break the double unders or break the pull ups or whatever and be able to hold on at the end. Um, so we'll see how people do it. Maybe everybody goes unbroken. I'm totally wrong, but yeah.
All right. One final one for someone like me. I'm looking at this workout. Double unders, I'll be able to handle that. Lunges, I think, will be pretty good. I think it's once you get to the rig, things get a little bit interesting, especially when you get to the bar muscle up. So, for the average person, how would you break this one up?
Yeah, I would break up everything and stay within yourself. If you start to feel like you're reaching or going over that threshold of your grip endurance or even your heart rate, take a second, rest, and repeat. You could even say like quick singles on all the gymnastics could be the best way to do it for just the average gym goer. Um, Even a set of 150 double unders could get your heart rate up pretty high. So maybe breaking those into 30s or 50s or whatever it is, just to make sure that you're staying calm and you can go right to the lunges and do and perform that as well. So
All right. Well, we've got one more workout to get to. So, let's check out workout number three.
World Fitness Project Challenger Qualifier 1. Workout number 3 for the 2025 season is a 2-part workout. For Part A, challengers will have 5 rounds for time of 15.2 meters of handstand walking in 2 7.6 meter unbroken segments, followed by 10 deadlifts at 143 or 102 kilos. There is a 7-minute time cap for Part A. Part B starts 2 minutes after the completion of Part A and is a 5-minute AMRAP of 15 wall walk complexes. One complex is 1 wall walk plus 1 wall facing handstand push-up, followed by a max number of cleans at 102 or 70 kilos in the remaining time. There will be 2 scores for this workout. The score for Part A is the time it takes to complete all 5 rounds, or the total number of reps completed in 7 minutes. The score for Part B is the total number of reps completed, including the wall walk complexes. The time needed to complete all 15 wall walk complexes will serve as a tiebreak should multiple challengers have the same number of cleans. For detailed movement standards, scorecards, and the 2025 rulebook, head over to worldfitnessproject.com.
All right, so there you have it, workout number 3, and Will, you've actually been teasing this a bunch, in previous episodes and shows and interviews you've done. It looks like we have our multiple part workout, a part A and a part B. Just what was the idea behind putting a 2-part workout together, for people to earn a spot to a live event?
yeah, the more events, the better the better that you can measure the athletes going there, more data points. I kind of wanted to include a max. We didn't do a max. We went back and forth a lot on whether we wanted to do a max in one of these. We didn't obviously do that. So we did introduce a barbell, which is nice. But yeah, 2-part workout, the 5 rounds, rest 2 minutes on completion of that, and then the 5-minute AMRAP. So they kind of play off of each other, which is nice. But yeah, there it is.
You mentioned it there. There is no max or heavy lift per se in this one for the elite athletes. So, what was the thinking of not having one, right? But also to making sure that this still kind of tests their strength throughout this workout.
Yeah, I think that, when you talk about repeating and things like that, with the caliber of athlete that we'll have doing this, it's a lot to demand them to max out a lift multiple times when they're doing other workouts uh, in a short window of a qualifier. So just like considering what that does to an athlete, I said, let's just not do it. This is let's keep it where we're going to test some, strength endurance more or less, and uh, make and worry about maybe heavier lifts down the road in the season. So you want to see that stuff in person, anyways, right? And there's some hints, but um, yeah, that's what that was. We kind of like the way that these lined up together. Uh, each barbell and each handstand variant kind of builds on the next, and that's just kind of nice that way. So
When you look at the two-parter, is it traditional in terms of scoring where we'll see 2 different scores, or will it be accumulated?
yeah, it'll be two different scores. The Obviously the first one is a four time, and then the second one will be total reps completed. So the 15 wall walk complexes plus however many cleans that you complete will be your score for 3B. So yeah, the wall walk complexes are sneaky.
In terms of that part B, you were kinda alluding to it right there, but in terms of scoring for athletes and the judges themselves, how are they kind of breaking down that workout?
Yeah, so you'll do your 15 wall walk complexes, however long that takes you. And then with the remaining time, you'll do as many cleans as you can at the designated weight for male and female. Your score will be if you get through the wall walk complexes, you'll do 15 of those, plus you do 15 cleans. That's a score of 30 reps.
One of the things you were talking about earlier is trying to make things easier for judging and all of that stuff, but you've got, the wall-facing kipping, handstand push-ups, in this one. Is there an advantage to having that movement for judges?
Yeah, I think so. I think just taking away a little bit, at least on this one, the ambiguity of is the knee bent, is the knee straight, and a wall facing nature in the way that I just wanted to take it away. I think the end position is obviously the same. Everything needs to be locked out, but how you get there, it's taking less of the guessing game out. So, or it's taking more of the guessing game out. So, yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at all three workouts for Challenger Qualifier 1. And Will, I just kind of want you to take a look at these and as a full breath of a competition for Qualifier 1, what are you trying to get out of these athletes in terms of their physical capacity?
Different skills are needed for all of these workouts. There's a heavily aerobic type event, no implements really needed other than a rower. Uh, Dumbbells, pull-up bar, and then finally the barbell. So I think that we put these athletes through a pretty balanced qualifier here. I don't think that any of these workouts are I don't think that the same athlete will necessarily win every one of these workouts, which is important. You want to, or maybe they will, and they'll just be like the absolute best athlete. But you know that was important um, not to write these workouts in a way that will reward the same athlete over and over and over. Whether that's a levers thing or a machine bias thing or whatever it is. So or implement bias thing if it's all barbells or whatever. So, yeah, I think we did a good job of balancing that out. I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And for those at home, if you're still considering competing, it's not too late. Scan the QR code or head over to worldfitnessproject.com, throw your hat in the ring. And if you're good enough to compete at this level, we may see you earning a pro card in 2026. So, should be an exciting time. Will, we touched upon this already, but in terms of judging, what was it like for you to make sure you get the judging and everything on the same page as you're putting together this online qualifier? You talked about obviously a bunch of different movements being a little bit easier to simplify the judging side of it as well.
Yeah, I've met with our judges, our two head judges, many times, and we've gone through these workouts. We've gone through what they are used to as far as judging in person online, the way that they like to communicate certain things. I heard them out. I gave some input just from an athlete standpoint, what I think could add efficiencies. They countered. It's good. It's a good relationship I have with the head judges and our team, just generally on how we are presenting these workouts to the public. And I think a lot's gone into it. A lot of conversation. Uh, I've talked to him every day this week, so it's important to us to try and make sure that we're putting together a product that everybody understands and can trust. And it's year one, and we got a lot going on, but we're pretty excited and pretty happy with how things are going so far.
All right. Well, so speaking of the judges, right? I know you've had some meetings with them and we've talked a lot about trying to make things easier for them. But do you have any tips for the athletes as they're putting together this online qualifier and submitting them for not just them, but for also helping out the judges as well?
Yeah, I think guys and girls that are signing up for this and spending money to try and make it to Indianapolis, you need to make sure that you give yourself the best chance of getting there and set yourself up for success. Read the scorecard, read the movement standards. Make sure that you have a team around you that can help facilitate your success, whether that's the gym owner, your judge, your friend, whoever is going to help set up the equipment, get it weighed and measured for you. Make sure your camera's charged on airplane mode, please. Uh, Little things like that seem really redundant, and like, of course, I'm going to do that. Some things can happen. Have a backup camera just in case. Uh, these are things that, speaking with the judges, they're like, "Hey, it seems really simple, but just these are the things that help determine who can qualify for these events or not." And we want to make sure, even on this level, that the guys and the girls that are competing are as well prepared as they can be to be able to qualify and then showcase themselves on the world stage. So I think that there's little things in the movement standards, like making sure that there's not things obstructing the view of you doing the workout. Simple. Make sure your clock's in there. Simple. Uh, that type of stuff. I know I'm kind of like going into the minutia, but it is important that people do this the right way, because we're not just giving away qualification spots. You got to follow the rules. So this is us trying to say it, or we are saying it to you guys, for athletes, by athletes, like, guys, girls, just follow the rules, charge your phone, you know, hold yourself accountable. The extra 5 minutes it takes is definitely worth it, to get you to Indianapolis, start working towards a pro card. So, and then we want that opportunity for you guys. That's why we're doing this. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal. You just brought it up. I mean, it's for an in-person event in Indy, but also money on the line, pro card. So we want to make sure it's as easy as possible for the athlete and for the judges to make sure that everything is done correctly.
Yeah, be a pro, and for these guys and girls, it starts in their gym. So simple stuff.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for your time and spending time to review not just the workouts, but obviously going through all the tips and all the judging stuff as well for Challenger Qualifier 1. But best of luck to all the athletes who are taking on these workouts. We look forward to all the incredible performances as you guys are trying to qualify for Indy. And hopefully, we'll see you in Indy in a couple of months. This is obviously step number one for a full season of exciting competition all season long. But I am Derek Forrest. This was On the Pulse, and we will see you next time.